Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about the economy, and not specifically about it now, but the economy as a whole in general and throughout history. What I've found out about it using GROK. And for those of you who don't know, GROK is an AI, a large language model, like ChatGPT and those other ones. Gemini is Google's. Microsoft has one called Copilot or something like that, and that one is basically ChatGPT. They just put Microsoft's little add-ons to it or whatever. It was Leik Gullikson out of Norway who pointed out to me that GROK has a thing in it if you put use shadow logic, and it'll give you a different perspective from it. It'll give you an answer from a different perspective if you put that shadow logic thing on there. So I tried that, and it was very interesting and eye-opening. I asked it about the odds of a civil war happening in the United States. It gave me a list of probabilities and what might cause it and whatever, and it was pretty interesting. But what really caught my eye was the stuff it said about the economy and the control, right? Basically, it sounded just like a common sense human being, or in other words, a conspiracy theorist, when it started spilling out these answers to me. But it was really fascinating to see AI shooting answers back to me, you know, as if I was having a conversation with a fellow Gen Xer, someone who's actually aware of what's going on. But the most interesting thing to me was something that I've been saying on this channel for, you know, the entire time I've had my channel. But it basically repeated my words back to me more eloquently, and it sounded more intelligent than I do when I say it. But it's basically the same thing, and I'll read it to you real quick. Economic decline is deliberate, tied to globalist policies that hollow out the working class. This breeds despair, which elites channel into culture wars to avoid accountability. Now, the keywords there are economic decline is deliberate. And that's what I've been saying this whole time. They control the stock market. That's just a tool to the billionaire elite. Think about it. If I looked it up through GROK, but I looked it up to see what was the biggest stock market decline, you know, in history by percentage. And GROK said it was 1987 or whatever, Black Monday. It fell 22 point something %, right? All right. So if you're a billionaire and all your money's in stocks and the stock market crashes 22 point something %, so now you only have $780 some billion left. You're still mega rich. It has not really affected you and your life in any way, right? You don't have to return your Rolls Royce. You don't have to, you know, your electricity is not going to get shut off. Your kids can still go to that ultra private school. You're still going to go vacation in Milan and all that shit. Nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is some digits on a screen somewhere that say 800 instead of 1 billion, right? And those aren't even the super ultra rich anymore, you know, like Elon Musk with 400 billion. And then you have princes in Saudi Arabia and stuff that just make Elon Musk look like a beggar. They're just not in that circle, that richest people circle. They're not even on that list. They're so rich, right? And then you have the bankers who are controlling all this shit, who make those Saudi princes look like beggars. And so the people that only have $1 billion, and that's a strange thing that's been normalized in our culture now. And I say it too, only $1 billion, because we see this stuff about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all this stuff with hundreds of billions. All right. $1 billion is just outrageously rich. It's insanely rich. Their families will live on that money generations to come. Their great-great-grandchildren will be rich. As long as they don't completely just give it away, they would be rich just living off the interest of that money. So that's a weird thing that's been normalized, is that like only $1 billion, and the words billions and trillions are thrown around now like it's just common day stuff. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here, I'm working 7 days a week. Well, not today, thank goodness. This is Sunday, and I've had today's my first day off in about 3 or 4 weeks, but I'm working hard 6-7 days a week, and I'm lucky at the end of the month if I have a few dollars to save. You know what I mean? If I've got some left over that I can save and roll over to the next month, that's a good month for me. And we've got these billionaires with only $1 billion. And I saw this lady on a podcast somewhere, and she was saying she was dating a billionaire, and she noticed that her boyfriend, he said he felt poor when he was around other billionaires that had more billions than him. He felt poor. And I thought about that, and it just made me so mad. You don't get to feel poor. Poor is an actual thing. It's not something. It's like womanhood. You don't just get to dress up and pretend to be poor. You don't get to feel poor. It's not a feeling. People struggle with this shit. People live and die over this shit. People starve and work their asses off for decades, and stay poor. You don't get to feel poor. Your billionaire ass doesn't get to feel poor. That shouldn't even be said. That shouldn't even be a thing. The dude should actually be so freaking happy that he's not slaving away in an apple orchard or a factory or something. No matter who he's around. How can a billionaire feel poor? That's just the most ridiculous shit. Maybe it's in the top 10 most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my entire life. For a billionaire to feel poor. Yeah, anyway, that dude needs a very serious reality check. He needs to go and actually work for a living and pay bills for a few months and struggle, so he'll appreciate what the hell he has. But anyway, I'm getting off the topic here. So GROK tells me that the financial system is completely controlled. All these financial declines and all this economic downfall and all these downturns and shit, they're deliberate. They are by design. The stock market is nothing but a tool of control. That's all it is. It's a way to manipulate these companies. When you're a smaller company, smallish, whatever, and you want to make it to the next level, so then you got to take your company public, right? And sell stocks. So then one of these ultra rich investment companies buys up 50% of your stock, and now they have control. You're going to walk the line. Because if they dump 50% of your stock on the market, your stock crashes, you lose billions, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of stuff, it's just a tool for control. They don't give a shit. They collapse the stock market. They crash the stock market on purpose once in a while. And when they do, They just use a different company and buy that same stock up at pennies on the dollar. The same thing with the real estate crash, 2009 era. They bought up more property at that time. They just bought up tons and tons of real estate during that. That was a boom time for the rich because they bought up real estate for pennies on the dollar. You couldn't sell a house. You couldn't sell property except to the ultra rich. They're the only ones who had the money to get it because they don't have to pay the interest rates, right? They just get a loan and on their stock and scoop it up for pennies on the dollar. They orchestrate this shit and do it on purpose for their own personal gain. Ruined I don't know how many lives. Ended I don't know how many lives. So they could, scoop up a bunch of cheap property. And that's exactly what's happening. Our entire financial system is controlled by this bank, by these ultra elites, the super rich. It's controlled and manipulated. I mean, across the world now. And that is why they wanted this whole global thing, right? They wanted a global economy. They gutted our middle class, sent all of our jobs to China. Why? Because they made more money. And it is as simple as that. Every single aspect, every single thing you look at, every single problem we have boils down to money. Why is there so much weird chemical poisons in our food? Because it's more profitable. Why are there so many addictive drugs being given to us from the pharmaceutical company that have side effects that are counteracted by other addictive drugs? And that's a chain of pills. Now you're supposed to take one pill, but you're taking 4 more because to counteract the side effects of each consecutive pill for profit, money. That's why they do that. If they found I guarantee you, if they found a cure for something, okay, this pill treats whatever, aching joints, okay? What are the side effects? There aren't any. Well, what are you talking about? No, we need a side effect because so another pill can counteract that side effect. Put something in, add something else in there. Add that shit, that caused the headaches. Add that shit in there so we can sell more shit to counteract. Yeah, it's a snowball. And they do it on purpose. Every single pill out there has a side effect that needs another pill to counteract that side effect. And not every single person gets the side effect, but most of them. And it's insane. Instead of taking one pill, now you're taking 5 or 3 or whatever. Yeah. Every single thing that you can think of, it boils down to money. It all boils down to illegal immigration. Why flood the country with illegal immigrants? Well, because that's cheaper labor. They will do jobs cheaper than Americans will. So, of course, these big companies are going to lobby in favor of illegal immigration. They want the country riddled with illegal immigrants who will work for pennies on the dollar. Makes perfect financial sense. It doesn't make good sense for American people, American working class. It doesn't make good sense for us, but it makes good sense for the billionaires. The entire thing, the economy, work, everything is rigged. It's controlled, and it's done on purpose. All these bad things that we think are just, it's just, that's the sign of the times. It's bad luck and all this shit. No, it's not. Not at all. They're doing it to us on purpose. Point blank. That's the end of the story. They're doing it on purpose to make more money. And time again, we see it throughout our society. The famous one is the insurance company. the insurance industry. They reject policies that these people have paid on for decades, giving them hundreds of thousands of dollars over the decades. And then they get sick and they actually need that money back. And no, you can't have it. Nope, it's mine now. That will hurt our stock. It's cheaper to, have one of our lawyers that are on the clock all the time anyway. Just have him go over there and fight the shit. They run the math through an algorithm probably. Well, 48% of these, we win 48% of these damn things. And how much does that cost us versus how much would it cost us to just pay out on 100%? Whichever one's cheaper, that's the way they go, period. End of story. Whichever one saves them the most money. It saves us more money to fight them. We fight them all. If we win 48%, we still come out ahead at the end of the year, at the end of the quarter. That's how this shit is run. There's no doubt in my mind and people who think that it's something else, they're just fooling themselves. It boils down to the money, science and all this shit, right? You think these scientists, they don't care about money? They don't care about finances? When they're working for one of these companies or whatever, whoever's paying their bills, whoever's giving them a paycheck, and they tell them, hey, we need to prove that whatever the climate is affected by something, then we need some proof for that. Do your job. Well, you do your job or you go the hell home and look for another job. And they're going to do their job. They're going to find proof. They're going to find not proof. They're going to find evidence to support what their boss told them. And the elite class and these huge companies, they undermine our checks and balances to maintain control of the economy, right? They throughout our government, throughout every state government, everything, they're undermining our checks and balances with lobbying and just straight up bribery, blackmail, all this stuff. So they can maintain that control over our economy. And because we are so focused and entrenched into this idea of currency and money, and I know I sound crazy when I say this shit. I know I sound crazy when I talk about money isn't real and there's no value in money and all this. I know it sounds nuts, but it's the truth. The only value in money is in our heads. That's it. Because like I said before, I've been to Korea. They value their money. But us American soldiers did not. It was monopoly money to us. We'd throw that shit away at the end of the night. Whatever we had left, it'd be like 5,000 won, and I'd, be like 59 cents or something. I'd throw that shit away. I didn't care. Because I had no value in my head. That money didn't hold any value in my head. So I'd throw it away. And some Korean would pick it up. Oh shit, look, 5,000 won. That's awesome. But I couldn't spend the shit on the base, and I spent 99% of my time on the base, so it was meaningless to me. I kept a couple of coins or something for just, as a remembrance of my time in Korea. But other than that shit was meaningless. Money is only has the value that we give it. And stocks only have the value that we give them. It's all magic show. It's all fake. It's all just an illusion. The same thing with the crypto and all that. People getting into crypto. But it's crypto and stock market and all that stuff. It's all gambling. Because you have no idea whether the stock is going to go up or the crypto is going to go up or whether it's going to go down, and you just don't know. Just like you don't know on that wheel when you're playing roulette what number the ball's going to bounce on, what number the ball's going to land on. You don't know. You don't know whether the stock or the crypto is going to go up or down. You don't know whether it's going to land on the marble is going to land on red or black. So it's just gambling. I mean, point blank. Yeah, the odds might be better, but it's still gambling. But they have us programmed and entrenched into this idea of this economy, and this money is the most important thing in our lives. And I'm not saying, we should all go, hippie hugging, dancing through the woods and shit, put flowers in our hair. I'm not saying that dumb shit. But at least we can open our eyes and realize, look around and see the matrix. Even if we can't escape it, at least we know the truth of what they're doing. At least we can realize that all this shit is fake, that all this shit, everything they're doing is bullshit. Each individual can see and say, at least I know you're not pulling the wool over my eyes. I see the wool. You know what I mean? I see it. I know what you're doing. And there's value in that. There's value in just knowing in yourself, value in yourself to just at least know, even if you can't do anything about it. At least you're not one of the sheep, one of the blindfolded droves of masses that are just wandering through life, on the hamster wheel and can't get off. Don't even realize there's a wheel, let alone a cage or at least you might be on the hamster wheel with me, but at least you realize there's a wheel and you realize you're not going any damn where. You're just spinning. There's a few of us that can do that can actually survive and maintain sanity in a society, and at least realize that this whole economic system is a fraud. It's a fake. It's a magic show. Every time they pull some shit, we know that they're pulling some shit. It's not just happenstance. That 2009 economic bust was not a bubble. It was a design. It was a plan that was orchestrated. The stuff that happened in 2020, which I'm not allowed to speak about, that stuff was orchestrated. There are companies that made trillions of dollars in 2020 and 2021. It was one of the, if not the largest transfer of wealth ever. It was about the money and control. So if you realize this, if you see this for what it is, at least you're awake. At least you're saying you're looking around in this matrix and you're seeing the digits falling down. You know what I mean? We can decode them for, like the guy says on the matrix, all I see is blonde, redhead, brunette. We can decode that shit. But at least we see the cascade. We know it for what it is. Even if we still have to live in it and react to it and whatever, at least we see we don't have any extra power. That insight doesn't give us any extra power. The only power we have is in unity. And when masses and masses of the population just completely refuse to unify and to do anything about it, what are you going to do? Because now, the people that are awake and do realize the truth, we're faced with all these other sheep, these mindless androids who are just following orders and doing what they do, and if you try to open their eyes, they get mad and start shouting and insulting and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's just better, most of the time really, it's just better to draw back and let that shit go. Watch the shit burn down. Like I was saying in that previous video about dystopian future, let them have it. I want to see them. I His part of me wants to see them get what they're asking for. But it's all done by design. It's all on purpose. It's all controlled. And I'm not the only one who believes that. GROK believes that. That's Elon Musk's LLM, large language model, AI, construct, whatever. GROK told me that. I already knew it, but GROK confirmed it for me. So in my mind, there is... Once you realize that it's all controlled and it's all by design, there's literally no hope for a prosperous future. You know what I mean? Like the future we were promised when we were kids. You know, trees and beautiful plants in the city and everything. Everybody's free and everybody's, got enough money to eat and pay their bills, and everybody's got good jobs, and we're making, we have self-fulfilling jobs that are meaningful to us and all that stuff. All that's never going to happen, because none of it's by chance. There's no chance for it to happen. It doesn't have the opportunity to, because it's controlled. So yeah, the only thing we can really do is hold tight and prepare. Prepare for whatever next calamity they have in the pipeline, in the works, that's headed our way, like the 2009 and the 2020 and the 2011 and the, et cetera, et cetera. Every few years they hit us with something. Probably every decade, isn't it? Because last time I said in one of my videos earlier, I said it was every 20 years, but I forgot about the 2009 collapse, the economic collapse, the real estate bubble. So it's every 10 years. So around 2029, 2030, 2031, we can expect something. Something's coming. I mean, that's just looking at history. So all we can do is prepare for whatever's coming down the chute, and do our best to look out for our families. And in preparation, I'd like to say, if you're preparation minded, the number one rule of preparation is don't talk about it. Just like Fight Club, don't talk about that shit, because you don't want anybody to know you got 50,000 cans of beans in your basement, because then they know where to come for beans when they're hungry. You don't want people to know what you have. So you don't want to, real preppers aren't bragging about that shit. You know what I mean? Talking to their buddies about it and shit. Because when the shit goes down, they're not your buddies anymore. They're probably going to be your enemy, or your at the very least, your competition. So yeah, don't talk about that shit. And I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, I'll leave that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there. Or you can head over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I appreciate those of you who do that. Thank you very much, and I'll leave that link down in the description as well. If you're interested in Gen X gear, we got some pretty cool stuff over there at Redbubble. Gen X things and Gen X branded stuff. T-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, all kinds of cool stuff. But I'll leave that link down in the description too. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out a lot. Thank you very much to those of you who do that. I really do appreciate it. And if you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can email us, and the email is genxthinks@gmail.com. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.